Penratals and the Cutmoses, who came up from the area that you were at when we were in Waset, to wage war, to kick these Hyksos out, and eventually it was Near-Petty-Rod-Most I who finally expelled the Hyksos. That's the only documentation of expulsion of a large group of people. Somebody took the original story of Kemet and turned it into a Moses Exodus story of Jews being Exodus out of Egypt, when there was no documentation. In fact, they even took from Near-Petty-Rod-Moses' name, Admos, and made a Moses. And that's even according to a Jewish historian named Josephus. Then we have the New Kingdom. That's the time period when we were walking through the temple of Ibn-Asud, and we're talking about these great Nissus. All of those starting up the 18th dynasty, Near-Petty-Rod-Moses I, that's the third golden age, because it's a golden age because Kemet is free now. It's free from the invaders that occupied Kemet at this time. So that goes from Near-Petty-Rod-Moses I. We're talking about Amenhotep III, the Men-Kaparat to be Mays, the King Tutankhamun, going back to also Hatshepsut. So that was a very great period as well. Then we've got another intermediate period. So now we have these intermediate periods that are taking place. Assyrians, Persians, others are eventually coming in. So here, the mother of Kemet, the Kushite dynasty, we're talking around the 25th dynasty, equally had to come up and save their daughter, save Kemet. They did not come in as plunderers and destroyers like the Assyrians, like the Persians. Why? Because it's one Nile Valley indigenous culture and civilization. This coming from one. They'd be like Greece and Rome. It's all part of that European civilization. Okay? So the Kushites came up as saviors. Then we come down to the late period, okay? During this particular period with Nectanebo. Nectanebo would have been the last ruler of ancient Kemet, not Cleopatra. Cleopatra, as I said, was from the Ptolemaic line. And her father being Ptolemy Philadelphus, this is where we see that her lineage is coming from. But like I said, when an invader comes in and conqueror comes in, do they bring their wives? No. So when they defeat that nation, they rape the women. It's wide open. So we know that her line is coming from the Ptolemaic, but we do know that her African Kemetic blood is there because of the invasions that came in. So that's during now the Ptolemaic period. Is that period indigenous to Kemet? No. But now we see the Roman period, as I talked about. So the Ptolemaic period was 300 years. The Roman period was about 400 years. The Byzantine Roman period was another almost 400 years. So we're talking about 1,000 years. And then when the Arabs came in 641 AD. Now look at how short this period is from the European time period of the Ptolemaic down to the Byzantine Romans. Look how short. Now look at all